Hey everybody, and welcome back to the live feed of the Handbuilt Show 2018, brought to you by Progressive. We're having a good time. We're into day 2, and today we're going to talk with Derek Kimes. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah.
I'm Alec, by the way. I think we've already officially met, but hey,
yeah.
We'll meet again. It's great to meet you again.
It's great to be here.
All right, man. Well, this is Derek's bike that he built. From what I understand, this is your first bike?
This is the very first bike that I've ever owned, and I've had it now for a little over 15 years.
Yeah.
And
Is it an 84?
This is a 1982
sorry.
Yamaha XJ750 Maxim frame. That's what it originally started out with. It was bone stock from the day I had it. So,
yeah, man.
And I rode it around for like probably about 8 years.
As stock?
Yeah, stock, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they're fun enough already stock.
Yeah.
Now, these bikes are typically carbureted.
Yes.
Tell us this crazy stuff you did. You made it fuel injected with a turbo.
So it looks a little different than when it was stock, but I had it and I loved it. It's a great bike for people that just want to have fun, ride around.
Yeah.
But I went to school for engineering and I want to kind of apply that knowledge into something, and I think what better thing than a motorcycle.
Absolutely.
And so I kind of went a little crazy and tried to take that knowledge and apply it to that, keeping that old school look with the modern technology, just kind of subtly hidden throughout the bike.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love about it, because I like the old 80s like sports bikes,
Yeah.
They look cool. The color combinations were really awesome.
Yeah.
But it's an 80s sport bike. You
Right.
know what I mean?
And I grew up in that era, so it's like it has a special meaning.
This
to
one did the
myself,
race.
too.
This is the one that, like, not this bike in particular, but the 8-hour race in Japan.
Yeah.
Right?
So there was a bike in Japan. It's not well known, but they did 8 hours in Suzuka, 8 hours of Suzuka. In 1984, they had an XJ750R.
Yeah.
It was 1 year, all out, of this series of XJ engines. So all you XJ fans out there, you know what I'm talking about. It's the unicorn that we all want to see.
Yeah, they're on their TV or on their computer.
It's trapped over there in Japan. We can't see it, but it's there.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to get? Did you want this bike specifically when you first got this bike, and you were like, I want this bike?
No.
I know I'm gonna keep it stock, but
I kind of discovered it along the way when I was starting to mess around with it, and I wanted to see what's out there as far as what these series of engines and bikes had. Yeah. And it was just by accident I came across it, and I was like, holy crap, this is amazing, this bike.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it. It was just a beautiful bike.
It's a cool bike, man.
The original bike is very similar.
But it's a lot different. I mean, tell us. So let's get into this.
Yeah.
Let's get into the fun, sexy stuff.
Sure.
Tell us what you did to make it fuel injected, turbocharged, all that good stuff.
So the first thing I started out with, I changed the engine. So originally this is a 750cc Maxim engine.
Yep.
But the nice thing about it, the series, is they're all interchangeable.
Yeah.
So, other than a 550, but a 650, a 750, and then this one here, which is the XJ900. Yeah. It's very rare in the United States. They only had it 1 year because of the embargo that President Reagan put in upon no bikes above 700 cc's could be in. So they stopped it. But over in Europe, they're plentiful. So there's a lot of them there, but it's pretty rare. So I was pretty lucky to come across this engine because there's not a whole lot of them here in the stateside. But I bumped it up, substantially. So it went from like 70 horsepower NA to 97 horsepower NA.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough. So I just no, it wasn't enough. It's never. Is it ever enough when you're building a bike?
That's the beauty of it. Also, is it's such a little bike.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very short wheelbase. It's only 53-inch wheelbase, I think, from axle to axle.
So that's already, bumping it up to, 90 whatever horsepower.
Yes.
I'm sure you can feel it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
it's a good,
pretty nuts.
and it's a strong engine. It's a great engine. All the XJ900 guys know what I'm talking about. It's a great. It was considered a sport bike of its day,
Yeah.
if you can believe that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What throttle bodies did you put on those?
So yeah, I mean, once after I did the swap on the engine, I'm doing engineering and stuff like that. I wanted to do something technical in the swap, and I had seen other guys. It was pretty rare at the time when I did it, but other guys on other bikes did a swap with EFI. So that's what I tried to do on here using a Megasquirt DIY ECU system.
Okay.
And so that's what I'm running. I'm running an Megasquirt MS3 Pro ECU, and the throttle bodies. It was pretty lucky. The great thing about these, which is 2003 Suzuki GSXR 600, and that's like the first gen throttle bodies for Suzuki at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're great. They actually the ID flow rate and everything is the same,
So it
or real
matched up.
close.
Yeah.
If they can look in there that there's original boots that they're just going right into. So
Yeah,
it worked
awesome.
out great. The only thing I had to do was space them.
Yeah.
And the great thing about those are they're all individual.
Perfect.
So it's
Hey.
great for anyone else out there that wants to do EFI conversion. They can use those to like CB750s or other bikes that's similar with the inline 4.
Yeah, there you go. You don't have to comb forums to find that information. He has found it out for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tell us about the turbo. I mean, I'm assuming
Yeah,
that was,
So I got in touch with the engineers over at Borg Warner and told them kind of like where I wanted to go with the bike power-wise, what RPM range
Yep.
that I was working with, and I kind of had the calculations out myself, and I was like, this is kind of like where I want to go with the size. And they're like, we got this great turbo over in Germany called the S1BG. It's not really known. It's not here in the States. You got to wait a little while to get it, but it would be a great fit for your bike. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I waited about 2 months, and I got it from overseas.
That's awesome.
It's really cool.
And you guys can't see this, but there's a lot of really awesome stuff going on
Yeah.
this side. Blow off and
Yeah, I have a
lines and
blow-up
everything.
valve going out the side.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I bet you it sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's got a wild blow-off valve. But going up to that, I have the turbo at the bottom tucked in nicely, and then it's going up. And you see a lot of turbo bikes that don't have intercoolers.
Yeah.
So it limits your amount of boost that you can go with.
And how did you decide what size intercooler to use?
So you base that on your amount of CFM that is going to be flowing, horsepower and flow. So you have to basically figure out how much mass airflow is going based on horsepower, so you can cool it.
Yep.
So
You gotta know how
it
much
has
to
to be
cool it.
big enough to cool it. In the turbo world, you can never have a big enough intercooler.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I got space constraints, so what intercooler can I
Could've
use?
put like a giant one on the
Giant one. Yeah, a lot of dragsters, they put them out to the side.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't care about turning. But this bike, I wanted to put on a track.
God. Sorry.
That's all right.
It's all the dust. I'm allergic to cool shit. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah. So it ended up. That's what I talked to Bell Intercoolers and talked to the engineer there, and that's like, this is probably the size you want to go with. So I just got the core, so I had to build the side tanks for it.
Oh yeah.
And I fabricated the intake lines. But you could see, it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but a lot of the times you'll see guys that do turbos, they take the charge pipe going from the intercooler or the turbo, if they don't have one,
Yeah.
and they go around the engine
Yeah.
and into the airbox. Well, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make it look like an afterthought.
Yeah.
So I channeled underneath the tank on the underside, so a place for the turbo tube, the charge tube, to go inside the tank.
And that's kind of what it's all about. It's the 12 steps ahead
Yeah.
that you have to think about. Obviously this bike is beautiful, and that's one of the reasons why it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part, thinking that far
It
ahead
was.
and having everything jive together, because the last thing you want is for it to look like an afterthought.
Yeah, it's like when you affect one thing, it affects a domino of things down
Absolutely.
the road. So
Absolutely. So I know, obviously This is not a plug and play thing.
No.
So me asking this question doesn't really have anything to do with this bike specifically, but how was that ECU to tune? How was that? Was it
so for me it was a challenge. It was definitely hard. I had to make a lot of one-off parts for it. Like with the ignition, I had to make a toothed wheel on the ignition off the crank to pick up. So that all had to be CAD design, and luckily we have a water jet, multicam water jet over at Fuller Moto that I was able to make it with. And
let me back up 1 second, because I got really excited to jump into all the dirty details of like mechanics and the turbo. I see a turbo and I'm like, I don't even want to know your name.
Yeah.
Tell me about the turbo.
Sure.
But tell us where you're from.
Sure.
I skipped that whole part.
Boom.
Yeah.
No, I grew up just outside Chicago, and graduated right outside of there, and then I joined the Navy, and I did about 8 years in the Navy, and did a lot, saw the world, had a great time, and I had done everything I wanted to do in there. So I got out. I wanted to do something new, so I decided to do engineering, like I was saying.
Something new,
school.
engineering.
Yeah.
Some people pick up fishing.
Yeah.
I want to do something new. I think I'll be a doctor.
So there's some great schools out in Atlanta. So I was like, and I knew some buddies, and so I went out east. Packed up. I lived in San Diego at the time. It was tough leaving there, but
It's the best weather.
I know, it was great. But that's where I ended up going, and I needed a job on the side while I was there, and I had seen Brian Fuller on Two Guys Garage and on other TV shows. I know he's watching out there. I told him about it.
Yeah, he's in the green room with his phone, like,
right. It's like,
please don't embarrass me.
Yeah. But so I said, I don't have anything to lose. So I emailed him, and I told him my story. I was like, hey, I'm this guy. I'm getting in town. I really like your shop. I like what you do. You need someone to sweep your floors. Just do whatever you need to do to get in. I just kind of stuck my foot in, and Brian was very gracious, and he emailed me back and gave me a shot. And if it wasn't for him and giving me the ability to work in his shop, this bike would never have happened the way it turned out.
And this is amazing for not only your first bike, but your first build.
It is my first build. Yeah.
Crazy. I mean, it takes people decades, years to actually get to this point. I'm not trying to you're gonna need to buy a bigger pillow when you get home.
I know.
But seriously, man, like this, it's awesome, and it's good to see.
Thank you.
And it's also nice for other people to see this, that are into this kind of stuff, and they're like, where do I start? Because everybody starts from somewhere. Obviously, this guy's an engineer. That's a base. It's not like he bought a motorcycle and had no idea.
Well, I'll be honest. When I started this project, I had really no experience. I had no welding experience, no real fabrication skills at all. It was just ambition and drive and the willingness to learn.
Absolutely.
And I just absorbed everything like a sponge. I read everything I could, and I absorbed it all. And it turned out okay. I mean, in the end, it was a struggle. It was a long process.
Of course it is. I mean, that's ultimately like what it takes, right?
Yes.
I mean, you could learn skills, you could do these things, but the thing to learn all these things is the want to do them.
Yeah.
The excitement.
Yes.
The I need to do this. Like the first time you saw something that you wanted to do, you're like, I have to do this. I have to play guitar. I have to build a motorcycle.
Just don't quit out there.
I mean,
If you stick with it to the end, you'll make it. But
I mean,
you just can't quit.
You knocked it out of the park in the first round. Yes. So, okay. So having said that, do you have plans for something? Do you already have something in the works, or are you just like,
we always
man,
got something in the works up there.
Right?
But I gotta take a little breather here.
Absolutely. So how long did this, from thought to physical?
Okay, so from start to finish, from the idea, 6 years.
6 years?
6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Off and on, 6 years.
Yeah, man. I mean, these things, they take a while, especially when you're going that far into it.
Yeah.
You know, basically.
There's a lot of like, I don't like that, scrap it. Guys at the shop, they know. I'm like, I'll be like so far, and they're like, dude, you're almost done,
you're
man.
Like, no, man, I've changed my mind.
It's not good enough.
Yeah.
Everyone knows whether it's like their first bike or the bike that they love. It's got to be the way that
Absolutely.
you want it.
And with that, you're like, well, it took 6 years because it's exactly like, I mean, you can build a bike in, a month, but
Yeah.
That's not what it's.
Yeah, so it turned out well. So, but yeah, going back to the bike, like the, like you can see, like the exhaust is all stainless.
Yeah,
It's,
man.
That's 316 stainless. All that was all hand custom done.
Wow. Where's the O2 sensor on this thing?
So the O2 sensor is on the other side, and it's tucked. You can barely see it, but it's there underneath the chin.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I tried to hide there. If I were to take the tank off,
You could see it all.
you would see literally like hundreds of miles of wires under there. It's crazy. I try to do my best to bundle it up and look neat, but there's just so much going on. It's like a car amount
Absolutely.
of wires.
When you're dealing with fuel injection,
yes,
you can't be like, oh, this one's going to be a 5-wire bike. Like, no, it's all, everything's run off the computer.
Packaging is one of the most challenging parts about this bike.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, I can throw this on, but is it, to make it the fit and finish, to make it look right is really tough. Like, I had to figure out how to route the wires all through the center, coming down through the throttle body in the center, and not interfere with the cables and the mechanisms of the throttle body.
And also
there's things like that you have to like take into consideration.
Yeah.
It's
and also
difficult.
be able to like take all these things out.
Yes.
If you need to. Like,
And
you know what I mean?
for maintenance and
I've wired a
assembly,
couple of
yes.
fuel-injected bikes in my day, and I know your pain.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, man. It is a challenge.
It is, but it's very rewarding when you get done.
It absolutely is.
But yeah, definitely.
So tell me one more thing about, the wheelbase.
Yes.
Is that intentional? Did you want it to be this wheelbase specifically?
Yeah, I like, I want, it's very difficult when you have a powerful bike to keep it down.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to stretch swing, if you want to take a turn or curve or anything, a stretch swing arm bike, it's not ideal. It's great for going in a straight line.
Yeah.
That's just was not my idea. I wanted to have a lot of power, and MotoGP bikes, they have like over 200 horsepower.
Shit, yeah, they do.
It is NA, so it's more linear than a peaky, a boosted engine. But I wanted to get there, and I want to be able to this thing to really carve the corners and stuff like that. So the really cool thing about this is that, yeah, it's an animal, it's a beast, but with the benefits of having an ECU, I can control boost based on gear.
Yeah.
So I don't have full boost running through first. I can taper it up, like a little bit of boost or no boost in first gear, then add more in the second, third, and then full on fourth and fifth.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is you can't see it from the camera. I have a electronic shift switch on the shifter, so I don't have to use the clutch to upshift.
Yeah.
It's full on throttle, and the ECU cuts the engine for me, so I don't have to use the clutch at all, banging through the gears.
That's awesome, man.
And with that, I had to undercut the transmission. So there's a lot going on involved. You change one thing, you got to change a lot of other things because you could blow something up.
Absolutely.
So,
and that happens a lot.
Yeah, the nice thing about these XJ series engines, though, they are way overbuilt because back in the day you couldn't CAD design and stress test things through simulation, so they just overbuilt everything. Yeah. So these things are
tanks.
Bullets. Yeah, they're bulletproof.
Man, thanks so much for talking to us, man.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming. I think we got to kind of wrap it up a little bit, but man, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming, man.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we will look for some more awesome shit from you in the future.
It's my honor. Thank you.
What's up?
It was my honor. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah.
All right, so we're done with this sick-ass bike. Yeah. And now we're going to go to Alan Stolberg, I believe, right?
Cool.
Coming up at 7, he's got another interview, so stay tuned. Thanks. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.